Hi, boys and girls, and welcome back to our next social studies lesson. And today's lesson, we are going to continue talking about needs or wants, okay? And we've already kind of determined that families need food, okay? So today, that's one of the things we'll be talking about, and we'll continue moving on and see what else families may need or families may want, okay? So for number one, it said families need food. All right. Families need food to live. If you need something, you must have it to live. Food gives us energy. Food helps us grow. We eat some foods for breakfast. We eat other foods for lunch and dinner. What foods does your family eat? Do you have a favorite type of food that maybe you like to eat, or maybe a favorite meal? Some people really love breakfast, while others might prefer lunch or dinner. And then for each of those meals, perhaps you have something favorite that you like to have. Now, here I notice there's also highlighted blue need, which we've talked about before was one of our social studies words. So let's just double check and review what need is. Okay, so need is you need or must have food to live. Okay, and we've already talked about that. All right, so let's look at our next section where it says families need clothing. Clothing keeps us warm and dry. We wear coats in the winter. Clothing may protect us from the sun. That is why we wear hats in the summer. What kinds of clothing does your family wear? Now, some people might think, oh, well, that's kind of a silly question to ask, but think about it. Maybe where you live will determine the clothes that you need to have most of. For instance, do we need clothes only for winter or only for summer? That's right, we need them because where we live, we have some weather change based on the time of year and the seasons. So for us, we would probably want to have at least one warm coat, maybe a pair of boots, heavy socks. But then come summertime, we wouldn't want that sort of clothing, right? So we would need something that's lighter that would help us when it's warm or very hot out, and some protection from the sun. And then things in between, like maybe a sweater or a sweatshirt. But now think about someone who might live, say, in Florida. Do they need all the different types of clothing that we need? How about somebody who lives in Alaska? Would they want to have shorts, a bunch of shorts and t-shirts around? So that's why it asks, what kind of clothing does your family wear? So think about it. How much do you need of each? All right, the next section. Okay, it doesn't want to move. There we go. Families need shelter. All right, so here's the highlighted word again. Shelter protects family from sun, wind, rain, and snow. Okay, we all need a place to live. A home gives us shelter. A shelter is a safe place to be. Shelter protects families from sun, wind, and snow. What kinds of shelters do families live in? Okay, and I guess that also comes down to the question of what area or what's the weather like where you live. Okay? So again, in Alaska, would they need air conditioning or heat? What would they need most of? That's right. So again, the kind of shelter depends where you live. All right, here we go. Section 4. Families want things for fun. All right. So we already talked about want. Getting things you want or would like to have makes you happy. Okay, that's a want. All right, there are things we want or would like to have. We do not need these things to live. A new toy is something you may want. It is fun, but you do not need it. I know sometimes you really feel like you need it because you really, really want it, but those don't always go together. It is fun, but you do not need it. Planting pretty flowers may be fun for this family. What kinds of things might families want for fun? Hmm. Well, I know in my family, we would like we like cookouts. So we would want to have a grill. And as the weather gets cooler, we would want to have some sort of a fire pit so we could sit around it at night and stay warm, or melt marshmallows, toast them, put them with s'mores. So that could be a want. If some people like to swim, they would like to have some sort of pool. Could be a little one, could be a big one, right? But we don't need it. What are some things that you want? Depends if you like indoors or outdoors. Okay, so now I would like you to look at your your social studies workbook, okay? And turn to page 66. And if you need to, pause and then come back for the directions. Okay, so on page 66, it shows a lot of pictures. Okay, there's a bunch of them right there, 6 of them. And it is asking for you to circle whether each picture shows a need or a want. So, what I'd like you to do is look at each picture and think, do I need it or do I want it? Okay. And then when you're done with circling your needs or your wants, save a copy for your teacher so that they can see it. Okay, boys and girls? Very good job today, and see you soon for our next lesson.